Chapter 666, Witness of Eternity 1. Livestock, you say. The projection of the sal tree heavenly venerable simply gazes past the chaos with sorrowful eyes. The underworld, and salt sea, who is now dead but in life once cast aside their immortal title. Except for those two, everyone else is no different from livestock or clay dolls. We just couldn't bring ourselves to accept that truth. The sal tree heavenly venerable continues in a gloomy voice. Keep the promise. White-winged heavenly Pegasus will tell you my weakness. Strike my Gandhara, and make me faint. I look at the gloomy sal tree heavenly venerable and answer in a strained voice. Quote, Understood. I will do so without fail. Upon hearing my words, the projection of the sal tree heavenly venerable immediately collapses on the spot and vanishes. Only the projection of the heavenly venerable of time remains within the hall. Quote, It has been a long time, O God of time. God of time, you say. That is excessive. I am merely a lunatic who has deluded himself into believing he was the owner of time. The heavenly venerable of time speaks, clutching his head with a tormented gaze. I have come here because there is something I must tell you. What is it? Back then, I did witness it, but in the midst of panic, I had no time to think, and the moment I saw the truth, I sealed it away, so I had forgotten a critical clue until now. I want to share that with you. A critical clue, you say. The heavenly venerable of time nods. First, have you heard why the underworld, despite countless enders passing through, never once tried to challenge the audience chamber, no matter what hope appeared? Pardon, I am startled by those words. What is this about now? It is different from what Hyeon Mu said. But it doesn't seem like a joke, either. What do you mean by that? Hyeon Mu clearly said, the underworld, returned every time. Question mark. You're saying strange things. Do not put too much faith in Hyeon Mu's words. Her mind is filled with suicidal urges, making her extremely unstable. She spouts nonsense quite often. Pardon, but, regardless, even if I am someone who merely clung to and misunderstood my position, I am one who has still set the calendar, Lifa, and observed the passage of time in my own way. Even if I trace back through time and examine every timeline, I cannot find a single history where the underworld ever challenged the audience chamber. Quote, exclamation mark quote. Whose words am I supposed to believe? If it had been just Hyeon Mu's words, I might have believed the heavenly venerable of time. But the problem is, the underworld never exactly denied that she returned every time, either. It seems like you are inclined to believe Hyeon Mu's side. But what I am telling you is the truth. I am someone who can observe time. In no timeline I have observed has the underworld ever truly challenged the audience chamber. Quote, I understand for now. It does not seem like you are fully convinced, but just know this. Everyone in Mount Sumeru, myself included, understands it that way. Quote, Yes. Anyway, continuing from before. The reason the underworld has never attempted to challenge the audience chamber is partly because they want to preserve their life until their true objective is fulfilled, but it's also because while the enders challenge the audience chamber, they want to assist the enders from the outside. From the outside, you say. Time nods. All fate in this world flows from the absolute of fate. It flows from the fate supreme deity, but conversely, it can also be reversed the other way around. If the fate supreme deity could be driven into a corner, it's possible that the fate supreme deity could instead draw power from the fate that envelops all of Mount Sumeru. If that is the case, yes, the underworld's very existence, by remaining within Mount Sumeru, serves to obstruct and restrain the power of fate that would otherwise gather to empower the fate supreme deity when they are driven to the brink. Is that the truth that the true ultimate eternal life great emperor uncovered through the head realm? No, such things can be known simply by sharing a few cups of tea with the underworld. What I have discovered is this. The eyes of the heavenly venerable of time grow serious. The immortal cultivation system that supports this Mount Sumeru all originates from the radiance supreme deity. Quote, So it really was all of it. Seems you had some inkling. That will make the explanation easier. Let me ask you one thing. If the immortal cultivation system originates from the radiance supreme deity, then if the radiance supreme deity so wills it, could all cultivators lose their cultivation ability? Quote, I ponder over his words for a long moment. Then I answer. All immortal cultivation systems except immortal arts would lose their power if the radiance supreme deity so desires. Then, do you think losing power is the end Quote. No, I speak in a heavy voice. If the radiant supreme deity is truly the owner of immortal cultivation, then they could collect a debt from every being who followed the immortal cultivation system. Yes, exactly. That is why every being in Mount Sumeru has their very existence mortgaged to the radiant supreme deity. And that is also why all living beings and true immortals in Mount Sumeru unconsciously act in favor of Radiance Hall. For that behavior itself is the only way they can repay the cost of their mortgaged existence to Radiance Hall, even if just a little at a time. Quote. Immortal cultivation is wisdom, and wisdom is light. That is why, even though the Radiance 8 immortals are incompetent and not all-knowing, Radiance Hall does not bow to the underworld and continues to reign as the foremost faction in Mount Sumeru. Because the light of the Radiance Supreme Deity does not merely refer to literal light, but also to the radiance of immortal cultivation. The light of the Radiance Supreme Deity permeates throughout all of the three heavens' great thousand world. Quote. I see. Let a silent sigh. That is the truth. Why, even when the Radiance 8 immortals are imperfect in their duties, do true immortals always flock to Radiance Hall, and they always maintain their place as the #1 faction in Mount Sumeru? It is because the very immortal cultivation system they possess influences every being of Mount Sumeru. Quote. I have a question. Isn't the immortal cultivation system the Radiance Supreme Deity possesses that of the Heaven Tao? No, the immortal cultivation system of the Radiance Supreme Deity is the Heaven-Earth Immortal Tao. It is all immortal cultivation systems. It is just that their grip on the Heaven Tao is particularly strong. Quote. If that is true, does it not mean that all beings, starting from the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld, cannot go against the Radiance Supreme Deity? The judges under the Underworld perhaps not, but the Underworld is an exception. Their immortal cultivation system is different. They follow a primordial origin, Shiyuan, immortal cultivation system not created by radiance. Pardon, are you saying such a system exists? When I express my confusion, the Heavenly Venerable of Time points at Kim Yian. That child is following the immortal cultivation system of the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld. If you are curious, ask her. Quote. I am startled by his words and look at Kim Yian. So the mysterious cultivation system Kim Yian has followed all this time turns out to be that of the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld. And, perhaps it is because you are a disciple of Salt Sea. It seems you, too, are practicing the immortal cultivation system of primordial origin beneath that of radiance, though you are not aware of it yourself. Ask that child later so you can awaken to it. Quote. I tremble at the words of the Heavenly Venerable of Time and nod. Anyway, to continue what I was saying. You asked, can one dare to go against the Radiant Supreme Deity while following their immortal cultivation system? No. That's right. There is no need to go against them. Pardon. A smile forms on the lips of the Heavenly Venerable of Time. From the start, do you believe the Radiant Supreme Deity is your enemy? Quote. Is that not obvious? The Radiant Supreme Deity is known as the being who hunts us down as the pawn of the future king. Even now, Radiance Hall constantly tries to capture and annihilate us. Ha, I suppose that is the only way you could see it. But can't you consider a different perspective? Quote. The possibility that the so-called owner of light also has a leash tightened around their neck, forced to obey the Fate Supreme Deity. Quote. Was that what you saw in the Akashic records? No, what I saw back then was a different truth. But from that truth, I was able to infer this. The Heavenly Venerable of Time continues speaking. What I saw in the Akashic records is first, the disgrace of us Heavenly Venerables, the truth of this miserable world. And the reason for our existence. But aside from that, I discovered other truths as well. The second thing I saw in the Akashic records is. He speaks with a solemn face. And at the words of the true ultimate eternal life great Emperor Qian Wun that follow, my eyes widen. The emptiness supreme deity Miang Wun. In other words, the being we call the head realm, is made of the same substance as the first radiance supreme deity. Quote. Once one becomes a true immortal, they become a world unto themselves, so things like genetic information are meaningless. Instead, when investigating true immortals, it is not their genetics, but the history and composition within them that is analyzed. And Qian Wun's words mean, the first radiance supreme deity and the emptiness supreme deity Miang Wun, that is, the head realm, are made of the same substance. That is right. That is how it was recorded in the Akashic records. In other words, the first Radiance Supreme Deity and the current Emptiness Supreme Deity Myung-Woon are highly likely to be the same being. Quote. And the third truth I learned from the Akashic records. The Emptiness Supreme Deity Myung-Woon is not in a living state. Like the case of the Swallowing Heaven Supreme Deity, it was originally just an inanimate object, but as the Akashic records were forcefully embedded into the head realm, life took root, and it became a supreme deity. In other words, it is an entity with no personality. No, beyond personality or lack thereof, it is more accurate to say it is a lump of information with the rank of supreme deity. Wait, forcibly embedded. That is right. The result that was born, someone forcibly embedded the origin essence of life, omniscience, into what appears to be the corpse of the first Radiance Supreme Deity. The head realm is the Emptiness Supreme Deity Myung-Woon. And that someone is highly likely to be the future king. The current Emptiness Supreme Deity Myung-Woon was born from the corpse of the first Radiance Supreme Deity by shoving in the origin essence of life, omniscience, and the one who created the Emptiness Supreme Deity is highly likely to be the Fate Supreme Deity. Only then do I understand why the Emptiness Supreme Deity's seat is in a state of a ring without a throne. The ring is a symbol of divine descent. The seat is a symbol of the self. But the Emptiness Supreme Deity is merely a decaying corpse realm divine descending the power of the Akashic records, so only the ring was visible, not the seat. However, even in the state of only having a ring, the power and rank itself reached the level of Supreme Deity because it accepted an absolute. The fourth truth learned from the Akashic records. I organize the information received from the Heavenly Venerable of Time and listen attentively. The current Radiance Hall, that is, the seat of radiance, on which the Radiance 8 Immortals sit upon, is receiving power from the Fate Supreme Deity. In other words, the current Radiance Hall is practically an immortal treasure of the Fate Supreme Deity. Quote. This, too, is something I had expected. To the future king, the Radiance Supreme Deity is just an immortal treasure. I let out a low breath at the overwhelming power of the future king, and continue listening to Cheon-Woon's words. Up to here is all the information I discovered from seeing the Akashic records back then, but sealed away along with the memory of our disgrace. If you put all this information together, doesn't a rather interesting conclusion emerge? Cheon-Woon smiles faintly as he begins to compile the pieces of information one by one. The first Radiance Hall, as you know, had a different goal compared to the present one. Back then, they were not merely slaves to fate. But at some point, the first Radiance Supreme Deity died, leaving only their head. Into that corpse, someone embedded the Akashic records, and it became the Emptiness Supreme Deity. And now, the current Radiance Supreme Deity has become the immortal treasure of the future king. When you put all this together, it is highly likely that the first Radiance Supreme Deity was an enemy of the Fate Supreme Deity. Quote. I see, is that how it is? Yes. Furthermore, the origin essence embedded into the Emptiness Supreme Deity is the origin essence of life. The source of all birth and resurrection, history and heaven and earth spiritual energy. That means, if someone were to seize control of the Akashic records and ascend to the position of Life Supreme Deity, that rivals the Fate Supreme Deity, then using the head realm as a medium, it might be possible to resurrect the First Radiance Supreme Deity. Quote. If that happens, and we can resurrect the first Radiance Supreme Deity, then we could bring the Radiance Supreme Deity, who is the owner of the immortal cultivation system, over to our side, and together with all of the Sumeru Three Heavens Great Thousand World, stand against the Fate Supreme Deity. Clench. The Heavenly Venerable of Time grabs my hand. Wo Wang. Something flows into me through his hand. It is the coordinates of the edge of the outer sea, where the Heavenly Venerable of Time currently resides. If you take this to the Northern Dippers or Yeongsang, you will be able to release a Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag. Now, go and tell the underworld that I support them. Tell them that now is finally the time to challenge the audience chamber together and seize the origin essence of life. If it is you who rip the radiance mantra from the envoy of the Fate Supreme Deity, the underworld will surely stand with you. Quote. Quaduk. The next moment, I realize that my entire body is being crushed at a speed I cannot even perceive. My prophecies, all my prophecies and histories vanish, and I begin to die. The Heavenly Venerable of Time. The projection of the Heavenly Venerable of Time is using the most extreme method to immediately return me back to Mount Sumeru. To kill me and make me regress. That, perhaps, is the best method in his mind. Once the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flag is completely undone, you will surely be able to remember the promise from back then. I will be waiting, counting the days in anticipation for the moment you remember. Quote. Exclamation mark quote. At times words, I realize that even the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flags being embedded in me was part of his plan. Remember, when the Northern Dipper sealing immortal flags are fully released. Remember what could it be? I realize what the Heavenly Venerable of Time is referring to. Once all my Northern Dipper sealing immortal flags are undone, he has arranged a prophecy so that the memories from the 16th cycle will return. As I perceive my death approaching at rapid speed, I am swept away in the flood of countless information and meet my death in confusion. Like that, I am struck down by the single strike of the Heavenly Venerable of Time without a chance to resist and fall into death. That is my 1006th threat. Don't make me laugh. Quaduduke, I roar, reining the wheel behind my back. You're telling me to die now just so information gets delivered faster. Don't talk nonsense, Time. No matter what happens, I will make my way through the outer sea with my own strength. My life is not some message service for the sake of all of you. The eyes of the Heavenly Venerable of Time harden coldly. You fail to grasp the greater cause. But in time, you will understand. Kuriririk, time begins to flow rapidly. At the same time, my death accelerates even more, and as I feel it, I grit my teeth and begin to resist. The outer sea, the place where the disgrace of the Heavenly Venerables lie. There, to avoid becoming a messenger for the Heavenly Venerables and being pushed into the next cycle, I begin to desperately resist the Heavenly Venerable of Time with everything I have. Chapter 667, Witness of Eternity 2. Clang. The Heavenly Venerable of Time swings his left arm once. All the surrounding chaos of the outer sea halts. Time separation. Targeted zone. Ultra acceleration. Kiriririk. Not only the chaos, but also the faintly undulating disgrace of the Heavenly Venerables within it. Even Kim Yin as well, are all frozen. It's not that everything is frozen. Only the Heavenly Venerable of Time is ultra accelerated. However, because my consciousness has risen to Araya consciousness, my consciousness is able to keep up with the overwhelming acceleration that makes time seem to have frozen. The Heavenly Venerable of Time seems to realize this too, and lets out a silent sigh as he swiftly performs 3 consecutive hand seals. Targeted zone, re-acceleration. Targeted zone, ultra-deceleration. Time segmentation. The Heavenly Venerable of Time accelerates again, while I am decelerated, and time fractures once more into segmented zones. But it is pointless. Tuck. Toodoo-doo-doo-dook. The principles of time binding me begin snapping one by one. I am a sword. Before I know it, I've reached the later stage of Great Net Immortal and gained the ability to interfere with Indra's net, allowing me to strike directly at principles. And the fact that I can touch the principles means I can attempt things beyond mere touch. A sword can be bound by nothing but its sheath. Took-da-doo-dook. The expression of the Heavenly Venerable of Time stiffens. At the same time, his figure begins to distort. Behind him, a taiji of starlight ripples, and his human form incarnation begins to melt into the taiji. The principles of Indra's net are severed by the impermanent sword. Among the principles being severed, the principles of time are included as well. Kururururung. Simultaneously, an overwhelming force begins to explode from within my body. However, that erupting force does not disperse, it lingers around me. It is my attraction force and explosion that have reached the level of Heaven-Earth Great Net. Vague prophecies or revisions alone are not enough to face a Heavenly Venerable. I condense all prophecies and revisions into a single point. I prophesize. The martial arts I have accumulated cannot be violated by any absolute. The martial arts I have accumulated can be spoken of by no authority other than myself. These simultaneously are my revision. Keying. The power of prophecy and revision wraps around my impermanent sword and myself, like a scaled armor. As much as it is narrow in scope, within that narrow range, it exerts power close to an absolute. Perhaps realizing this, the Heavenly Venerable of Time conveys a will of annoyance. Is this some tactic akin to high-own emus? How needlessly bothersome. Why do you resist? Great Net Immortal. No, even those at the level of true immortal already understand that life and death hold no meaning. Don't tell me, is it because you were about to copulate with that ender and couldn't? In that case, the problem will be solved when that ender awakens as a heavenly king. Then, that one will naturally remember the promise made at this time. Why are you so obsessed with the present? Do you not realize I am offering you goodwill? The heavenly venerable of time questions me with genuine incomprehension. All I can do as a projection is simply bring you to death in an instant, activating the mantra of Hyuksa. It hasn't been long since I fixed your regression point. This is all the goodwill I can offer you at this point in time. Do you really believe you can endure endlessly drifting through this outer sea, keeping your sanity intact? His voice somehow sounds as if he pities me. With nothing but pity for you, I try to grant you death now so you may begin anew. And yet you still, bound by desire and obstinacy of mortality, insist on continuing this life. Even knowing you have near infinite chances. It is not obstinacy. With cold eyes, I release attraction force and begin to take control of the surrounding chaos. The formula of the salt sea returning dew jade gradually teaches me how to maintain balance in this outer sea. It is simply my way. Pasasasasa. The phenomena extinguishing mantra and the formula of salt sea returning dew jade begin to resonate. The power of the phenomena extinguishing mantra compresses the surrounding chaos and begins refining it, while the salt sea returning dew jade consumes the compressed shards of chaos, spreading a spiraling vortex outward from those consumed fragments. It feels like I'm standing on solid ground. The resonance between the salt sea returning dew jade and the phenomena extinguishing mantra instills in me an overwhelming sense of stability. Can you truly endure it? No matter what you think, this world is always more cruel than that. Are you really saying you can return to Mount Sumeru with your mind intact, sailing through the endless outer sea, even without my help? Kurururun. Before my eyes, the taiji of starlight ripple and swell in size. Is this the heavenly venerable of time? In an instant, the surroundings begin transforming into a world of countless star veins resembling the source river. The star veins entangle and intertwine, forming something like a great river. Above that river, countless scenes drift by. I feel as though I am about to be swept away by the waves of countless history observed by the heavenly venerable of time, but I take my stance and take a step forward. The first form of severing heaven sword form, compressing the 1st to 12th moves of severing mountain swordsmanship. Entering heaven, the second form of severing heaven sword form, compressing the 13th to 24th moves of severing mountain swordsmanship. Treading heaven, the third form of severing heaven sword form, compressing the 25th to 36th moves of severing mountain swordsmanship. Punishing heaven, with every form that unfolds, the profoundness of foolish old man moves mountains seeps in, and I grow steadily stronger. At the same time, I begin to gradually accelerate. Now, as the phenomena extinguishing mantra resonates with the salt sea returning dew jade and provides utmost stability. Now is the best time to test the 36th move of severing mountain swordsmanship. Because the 36th move of severing mountain swordsmanship is, unlike the other moves, fundamentally rooted in the phenomena extinguishing mantra. Shwaririk, Shwik, from the first move of severing mountain swordsmanship, transcending peaks, to the final ultimate technique. All the principles of martial arts I've learned and unleashed begin to circle my impermanent sword, biting each other's tail. At the same time, the severing heaven sword form, which until now lacked proper form, finally begins to take its shape. It is mist, Shwaririk, severing heaven sword form, which seems to create trajectories of starlight every time it unfolds, has the starlight weave entangle, changing form into something like a river, as it confronts the source river. Shikagak, Kong, Kagagagagagak. Each time the impermanent sword is swung, it clashes with the torrents of the source river, causing explosive roars to erupt. And as those roars begin to grow louder, they transform into something eerie. Kagagak, Kakakak, Kakog, Kog. It sounds as if something is screaming. And finally, Ku. The screech of friction of the severing heaven sword form turns into a massive dragon's roar, echoing throughout the entire source river, and the form of the severing heaven sword form with the 36 moves of severing mountain swordsmanship added reveals itself. It is a candle dragon. The enormous form of the immortal beast candle shadow begins to appear with each sword trajectory, growing ever larger. It expands by drawing in and reversing the power of the source river itself. I perform a sword dance within the endless torrents of the source river, before the authority of the heavenly venerable of time. When the power of the sword dance reaches its peak, I finally unleash the essence of the severing heaven sword form, the final ultimate technique of the severing mountain swordsmanship. The form of the candle dragon coiled at the tip of the sword roars, and I swing my sword with all my strength alongside that dragon's cry. Shukwik, that is the end. Jajauk. The source river splits, and the rules created in this space by the heavenly venerable of time also shatter, revealing the pure chaos of the outer sea and the disgrace of the heavenly venerables. Even that revealed chaos of the outer sea seems to fracture endlessly, and an enormous path seems to unfold before my eyes. The 36th move of the Severing Mountain swordsmanship applies the principle of the phenomena extinguishing mantra to the domain of martial arts, bringing about an end zhongmo with a single sword strike. Of course, there are still many aspects that need refinement, and the technique is unfinished, but its sheer power seems enough to momentarily repel even a heavenly venerable's authority. Puss. Steam-like vapors seep out from all over my body. I thought my body had grown strong enough to withstand the recoil to some degree, so I tried it out, but even having reached the late stage of heaven-earth great net, my body still feels dangerously overheated after using it. Had I used it at the realm of true immortal or upper immortal, my immortal body would not have been able to endure the backlash and would have suffered fatal damage. If I had used it during the entering nirvana stage or sacred vessel stage, it would have been nothing more than a self-destructive technique. Still, now it's only a matter of overheating. If I take a little more time and completely control the leaking force, by then, it should be usable. I steady my twilight true energy and gaze upon the halved sea of chaos. TSTSTSTSTSTs. Then, a phenomenon as if time itself is reversing unfolds before my eyes, and the heavenly venerable of time appears, entirely unscathed. But that appearance is only superficial. In truth, he must be in considerable pain, since I have even cut through the principle. Your power is worthy of recognition. But, no matter how great your power may be, time is something not easily endured. More precisely, the solitude of time akin to eternity. Even this conversation I am having with you now is only possible because you are still near the disgrace of the heavenly venerables. Once you leave and that medium disappears, communication will be impossible. That being the case, you must drift forever through the outer sea with only that ender at your side. Can you truly endure such an outcome? I am the only one who can kill you. Was it Kim Yeon? That child who has cultivated using the cultivation system of primordial origin is certainly strong and would likely win more than lose against other true immortals, but in terms of pure weight class, the immortal cultivation system of Hyuksa is far superior. That is why that child cannot kill you. And judging by your attitude, you don't seem inclined to kill yourself either. The heavenly venerable of time asks with a solemn face. I will ask one last time. Can you truly accept eternally drifting in the outer sea? Whether the voyage in the outer sea is eternal or not, that is something no one can know, is it not? This is, after all, a chaos where all possibilities exist. Perhaps I may reach Mount Sumeru in a single instant. Wrong. While this is indeed a chaos where all possibilities exist, that is precisely what makes it terrifying. The outer sea overflows with positive possibilities, but it overflows just as much with negative ones. It does not matter. Possibilities are just that, possibilities. I turn my transformation form body and speak. What I have accumulated is not inferior to infinite possibilities. So no matter how difficult the journey back from the outer sea may be, I will never collapse. Foolish. I have certainly given you a chance. The heavenly venerable of time sighs, turning away as if sincerely regretful. Do as you please. After all, mountain spirits have always been stubborn, so I figured this might happen. And, Wo Wang, the projection of the heavenly venerable of time melts into the void and resonates with the split soul of Young Sung within me. If you need my help, use that split soul as a sacrifice. Then, just once, I will send my projection to kill you. Now then, experience for yourself what the true pain of eternity feels like. Finishing his words, the heavenly venerable of time looks back at me with regretful eyes. And completely dissipates. I gaze at the place where he disappears. Kugugugu. Moments later, the extreme acceleration affecting me releases, and the frozen world resumes. Kim Yeon blinks. She seems unaware that anything happened. It's nothing. Just, the heavenly venerable of time being nosy. I take Kim Yeon's hand, climb once more onto flower soul filling the heavens, and kick off the salt crystal made from the disgrace of the heavenly venerables. Kwang. Just like that, we kick off the disgrace of the heavenly venerables and begin our return journey to the distant Mount Sumeru. No matter how long it takes, both Kim Yeon and I can endure it. As I push through the endless chaos, I think this to myself. It isn't simply because we can rely on each other. Warururuk. The spell of celestial lord incense burning. It is because I can burn my split soul to communicate with my comrades in Mount Sumeru. Yi and Ah. For now, I'm going to use the celestial lord incense burning spell. Help me. My comrades should have already prepared the conditions for celestial Lord incense burning to activate through my split soul. I take out the heavenly black flag and the earthly yellow banner given to me by Jaeon Myung-hoon, cover the surroundings, close my eyes, and sit in a lotus position. Immortal art. Celestial Lord incense burning. Activate. Pot. Like so, my consciousness begins to get sucked toward the faraway Mount Sumeru. Mount Sumeru, twin holding heavenly domain, Kali realm. In a certain region of the human race territory. There, a mother lights an oil lamp before bedtime and tells a fairy tale to her children. Long, long ago, in a time far away, there lived a swordsman who cried out, "Heavens above!" At the world. The children, with sparkling eyes, listen to their mother's story and gaze at the shadows cast by the flame of the oil lamp. The swordsman had no talent at all. So little, in fact, that no matter how much he swung his sword throughout his life, his realm never rose. And so, the swordsman swung his sword his whole life, shouting at the heavens, asking why he was given no talent. And then one day, the mother, mending her children's clothes with needle and thread, continues the fairy tale about the swordsman. The children are drawn into the fairy tale their mother tells, imagining and picturing the story's protagonist as they immerse themselves in the tale. Elsewhere in the Kali realm. In a detached palace of a human race imperial family, a court lady reads a fairy tale to the crown prince. Once upon a time, in a time long, long past, there was a white immortal. This white immortal entered a sect that wielded golden lightning. Why? Because that sect, due to the sins of their ancestor, was fated to be destroyed by another powerful lightning immortal. The white immortal joined that sect to save it from the destruction of the lightning immortal. As the court lady reads from the fairy tale book, the crown prince's eyes light up, and he begins to think about the fairy tale's protagonist. As he imagines the protagonist and immerses himself in the story, the crown prince draws the image of the main character in his mind. Not only in the Kali realm, but also far off in other dimensions. For example, even in a corner of the bright cold realm, which had been transferred to the earth boundary heavenly domain, the same is happening. Not only the human race but, even among the intelligent heaven tribe, stories and tales of the talentless swordsman and the white immortal begin to suddenly become popular. Countless humans and heaven tribe members read the tales and stories, picturing the protagonist in their minds. Then, at some point, that protagonist embeds himself into their entire lives, deep within their unconsciousness. Throughout numerous heavenly domains, except for the Heavenly King heavenly domain, the stories repeat again and again, and the protagonist becomes imprinted deep into the unconsciousness of countless living beings. Then, at a certain moment, the flow of those unconscious minds causes a ripple in the plane of soul. The ripple formed in the plane of soul affects the plane of chi and the plane of fate, and gradually a certain energy begins to naturally arise throughout the entire world. That energy is none other than the story's protagonist. The one known as the talentless swordsman, and the white immortal, Seo Eun-yun's innate true energy. It is twilight true energy. The heart toward the protagonist that sparks like candlelight in the hearts of those who read the tales subtly influences the planes of chi and fate, causing them to faintly produce twilight true energy. This is the result of Seo Eun-yun's comrades, at his request, refining his split soul and spreading it throughout the world in the form of stories. And then, at a certain moment, within the trickling stream of twilight true energy naturally generated by the spell of celestial Lord incense burning, a certain consciousness opens its eyes. It is the consciousness of Seo Eun-yun, who, out in the outer sea, has just activated the celestial Lord incense burning spell. Shiririk, Shiriririk, inner sea of Mount Sumeru. In the abyss where the energies of numerous heavenly domains flow, collide, are destroyed, and once more amplify. From somewhere in those deep depths, twilight true energy begins to gather. And from the place where twilight true energy converges, something opens its eyes. That which awakens instinctively manipulates attraction force, forming an alternate space around itself and sends a signal to its comrades. Soon, the comrades will come rushing. Inside the alternate space, within a world thick with the noise of countless stories, the something that opened its eyes. Seo Eun-yun, hearing the endless whispers from all directions, slowly begins to form his clone. Shurururuk. Perhaps due to the lack of twilight true energy, Seo Eun-yun takes the form of a small child, and looks around while slowly regaining consciousness. So noisy. On top of that, even the sense of time is weird. Blinking as if in a daze, he sits down and rubs his eyes. When will my comrades arrive? It happens then. Someone hugs Seo Eun-yun from behind, sits him on their lap, and speaks. Hello, Seo Eun-yun. It seems you've learned the Celestial Lord incense burning spell well. Seems like it. Since my consciousness arrived from the outer sea. The one with silver hair gently strokes the child form Seo Eun-yun, smiling. I see. By the way, Seo Eun-yun, you've really accomplished countless feats, haven't you? Normally, even experienced great immortals only produce a single story's worth when they use Celestial Lord incense burning. But your stories aren't just one or two. They are so many and diverse, they've spread to all heavenly domains except the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain and the Sun and Moon Heavenly Domain. But, who are you? Don't think too hard right now. At this moment, you are a lump of information formed from the stories of countless living beings. It's only because so many beings have imagined you and etched you deep into their unconsciousness that you're able to communicate with Mount Sumeru from the outer sea. But as a lump of information, the more you think about complicated thoughts, the slower your will gets delivered. That means you'll stay in this dazed state even longer. Just stay in my arms for a bit. I have something to find anyway. The figure gently covers Seo Eun-yun's eyes with slender, jade-white hands. Celestial Lord incense burning is an immortal art where one takes the parts of their life that forms their identity and scatter them as stories. Then, by using those who read and imprinted those stories into their unconsciousness as coordinates and mediums, one communicates with distant worlds. And that means, by reading those stories, one can glimpse into the past of the true immortal they wish to understand. Covering the eyes of Seo Eun-yun, the figure embraces him and begins to search through the countless stories flowing in the alternate space around the information entity that is Seo Eun-yun. Held within that being's arms, Seo Eun-yun frowns at the scent of iron dust wafting from somewhere, but relaxes again at the warmth radiating from the being's body. Just stay like this for a little while. If what you did through your Ender authority had enough impact to influence me, then surely, it was an event that influenced your identity. It must be within the stories of Celestial Lord incense burning. Thus, the one holding Seo Eun-yun in their arms. The fifth seat of the Radiance Eight Immortals, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, breathes in the subtle scent of Seo Eun-yun's clone and begins to search for the story within Celestial Lord incense burning that relates to herself. Chapter 668. Witness of Eternity 3. Tingle. I hold Kim Yeon's hand in the outer sea, amplifying our consciousness domain together as we activate Celestial Lord incense burning. But then, a piercing pain like a needle drives into my mind. What is this? Kasasasik. Something is changing inside my immortal body. Wisdom, formulae, something, is being engraved. And it's a script I've never seen before. Before long, I realize that this script is one mostly seen in the Heavenly King Heavenly Domain. I see. So this is the script mainly used by those from Radiance Hall. Deciphering the characters isn't difficult. With my age and experience, my mind naturally compares and processes the characters, cross-referencing them billions of times until their meaning becomes clear enough. After a while, I begin to decipher those special characters. This is wisdom. I see. It's wisdom regarding the spell of Celestial Lord incense burning. I don't know why, but right now, as I use Celestial Lord incense burning, strange characters carve themselves into my consciousness, along with deeper wisdom about the spell. Judging by how wisdom regarding Celestial Lord incense burning is surfacing first, it seems that simply activating it naturally causes these to be inscribed. Wo Wang. For now, I accept the energy of the heavenly black banner and earthly yellow banner fluttering around me as I activate Celestial Lord incense burning, reading the wisdom. Heavenly Void Furnace. Heavenly Void Furnace Tien Kong Lu. Also known as Heavenly Lord Furnace Tien Gong Lu, it is wisdom regarding the powerful immortal treasure. The spell of Celestial Lord incense burning originally came from the torch candle Heavenly Lord, the administrator of the Heavenly Void Furnace, lighting incense within the furnace. Alongside this, knowledge about the Heavenly Void Furnace flows into my mind. The Heavenly Void Furnace is in the head realm. Zizing. At the same time, I come to realize something. I see. In a past cycle, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord mentioned that if one uses a certain immortal treasure within the head realm, they could know our exact location. Was that the Heavenly Void Furnace? I organize the knowledge I've gained about the Heavenly Void Furnace. The Heavenly Void Furnace is basically an immortal treasure shaped like a tripod brazier, hidden somewhere in the head realm. It seems the Radiance Eight Immortals use the Heavenly Void Furnace as a medium to wield immortal arts that control the head realm. So when the torch candle Heavenly Lord suddenly risked their life and performed a revision using the head realm's power, was that what it was about? When the Salt Sea returning Dew Jade was activated, I was shocked to see the torch candle Heavenly Lord controlling the head realm like how the head realm stepped forward to protect Hong Fan. Fortunately, after refining the canvas of myriad forms and connections into my immortal crown, I was able to resist that kind of revision. I almost got caught off guard back then. Perhaps the Radiance 8 Immortals' claim to being the Radiance Supreme Deity stems from confidence in their control over the Emptiness Supreme Deity Myongmoon. In other words, from their ability to control the Akashic records to a certain extent. I continue to read through the knowledge. The torch candle Heavenly Lord periodically lights incense within the heavenly void furnace to perform a ritual and synchronize with the furnace in order to control the head realm. Tingle. Another surge of pain suddenly crashes into my head. This pain is entirely different from before. This is the 16th cycle. At the same time, I sense that this is a truth deeply related to the 16th cycle. 16th cycle, Heavenly Void Furnace, Torch Candle Heavenly Lord, Cuff. Just what is going on? Did I go back to the head realm in the 16th cycle? I delve deeper into the knowledge, trying to understand more about the so-called Heavenly Void Furnace. Unfortunately, no further information appears regarding it. The last piece of information is, the spell of Celestial Lord Incense Burning is a mimicry of the immortal art used by the Torch Candle Heavenly Lord, who controls the Heavenly Void Furnace by lighting incense within it. Still, I suppose I've managed to learn quite a bit. After all, even if it is a mimicked immortal art, it still allows for the deduction of the original. I continue to delve into the knowledge regarding Celestial Lord Incense Burning. The spell of Celestial Lord Incense Burning processes the user's split soul into the form of a story and scatters it into the body of a desired being or into a chosen world, fixing coordinates in that place. The story that comes from the processed soul is reduced to a level comprehensible to mortals, containing events or anecdotes that had a major impact on the formation of the user's identity. As I read this, I briefly wonder if this could reveal the truth about regression, but instinctively I know. No, definitely not. A faint tremor of principle stirs from the Radiance mantra within me. It seems the sinisterness of the Radiance mantra can never be broken by something like the spell of Celestial Lord Incense Burning. But if events that influenced my identity flow out in the form of stories? I fall deep into thought, considering that fact. Wouldn't that basically be like revealing my canvas of myriad forms and connections? Events or anecdotes that formed my identity? Of course, every moment, every incident, every hour of everything contributes to shaping my identity. That is my belief, and the ultimate form of that belief is my canvas of myriad forms and connections and my immortal crown. In that case, I begin to worry whether my canvas of myriad forms and connections would be revealed to my comrades through Celestial Lord Incense Burning. Fortunately or unfortunately, it doesn't seem to go that far. Whether fortunate or unfortunate, it appears that my canvas of myriad forms and connections itself doesn't seem to be directly exposed. There's no way for my comrades to directly know the stories inside my soul. The information only resides within the version of the story diffused in a way mortals can comprehend, and stories diffused among mortals can be distorted or altered to fit their life or context, making it virtually impossible to identify the original. Still, it's not that there's no way to deduce the original. If the Radiance 8 Immortals reach the location where the information body formed by my stories is born through Celestial Lord Incense Burning and gathers all the information, then use the authority of the Radiance Supreme Deity, they might get a vague glimpse of the original, is it? I realize I need to keep an eye on the Radiance 8 Immortals, but I'm not too worried. To begin with, the place where my information body is born from the twilight true energy generated from the stories in Mount Sumeru was already set deep within the abyss of the inner sea. The abyss of the inner sea is an area impossible to locate something within without coordinates, even for the Radiance 8 Immortals. Furthermore, when the information body is born through Celestial Lord Incense Burning, I've arranged it so that only my comrades will receive a signal. There's absolutely no way it would get exposed. Unless one of the Radiance 8 Immortals placed something like Tainted Soul filling the heavens on me to monitor me in real time, there's absolutely no issue. And even if such a surveillance immortal art had been used, the Sal Tree Heavenly Venerable or the Heavenly Venerable of time I just met would have definitely given me a hint. So, it's safe to assume that the Radiance 8 Immortals won't gain access to my information body. But still, why does the information body feel so hazy like this? Is it supposed to take more time before it properly connects? I focus my consciousness as I watch the heavenly earth banner and earthly yellow banner flutter. Inner sea of Mount Sumeru. Behind the information body of Seo Unyun located there. From that place, the sword spear heavenly lord holds Seo Unyun's information body on her lap and concentrates her consciousness. The Radiance 8 immortals possess several authorities as the Radiance supreme deity. Among them is the authority to trace back the origin and manipulate or utilize any immortal art created by Radiance Hall. Reverse tracing immortal art celestial lord incense burning. Keying. The sword spear heavenly lord begins to trace back the endless stories pouring into Seo Unyun's information body, gradually approaching the original of the stories. Then, a flash of shock enters sword spear heavenly lord's eyes. What is this? The stories scattered by Seo Unyun are endlessly vast in type and classification. Seo Unyun's comrades seem not to understand what this means, but the sword spear heavenly lord, possessing the knowledge and authority regarding celestial lord incense burning, is different. Normally, only supreme deities or heavenly venerables produce such stories through celestial lord incense burning. Yet as far as the sword spear heavenly lord knows, Seo Unyun is no more than a young being barely 10,000 years old, practically a child. But this child is bearing stories on a scale comparable to those of supreme deities and heavenly venerables. That alone shocks sword spear heavenly lord at first. But what shocks her now is something else. What kind of story has each individual moment of life as the foundation of one's identity? Can a sane being even possess such a thing? No, that's not it. Starting from true immortals, no, once one reaches the star-shattering stage, they all end up as madmen, so Seo Unyun must be one of those types as well. That's right. Normally, when supreme deities use celestial lord incense burning and spread many stories, it's because they've lived overwhelmingly long lives and accomplished numerous feats, so the stories naturally revolve around those feats. But Seo Unyun, for some reason, regards every single step taken, every breath inhaled as part of his life, even if it isn't a feat, and that ideology is directly reflected in celestial lord incense burning. Was he so pathologically obsessed with his own life that he recorded every part of it? This is an utterly deranged mental world that can only be thought of in such a way. Seeing this, the sword spear heavenly lord momentarily hesitates. If it's like this, then finding information about me inside his memories. It's going to take a very long time. Even though he's just a young true immortal not even past 10,000 years, Seo Unyun is a madman who accepts every piece of information about his life as part of his identity. This is practically a miniature Akashic records. Although the information is limited to himself, he is practically omniscient with regards to himself. In effect, it's no different from a miniature Akashic records. If I think of it as combing through a 10,000-year-long miniature Akashic records, even for me, it will take 50 to 60 years. No, if it's a mental world with this level of obsession, it might take 100 years to explore it slowly without losing my sense of self. For the sword spear heavenly lord, such a time span is not a major issue. The problem is that Seo Unyun's comrades are expected to arrive soon. The only reason she arrived the fastest is simply because she is part of the Radiance Supreme Deity, the administrator of all wisdom is light. They are not that slow either, so they will arrive shortly. What should I do? If beings like the Madam Ghost Mother, who directly receive protection from the underworld, arrive? In the end, the sword spear heavenly lord decides to take special action. Pearl Jade. Do you hear me? The sword spear heavenly lord contacts the Pearl Jade heavenly lord, with whom she is paired with. I am going to remain in the inner sea for 100 years to investigate the past of Seo Unyun among the Enders. Understood. If there's no contact for over 100 years, I will inform Great Forest and Rain Dew. The communication is brief. At the same time, the body of the sword spear heavenly lord, who holds Seo Unyun's information body in an embrace, begins to gradually melt. Pot. Transformed entirely into silver white light, the sword spear heavenly lord flows directly into Seo Unyun's information body. There's no need to bother clashing with Seo Unyun's comrades. I just have to seep into the information body and peek into Seo Unyun's memories. TSTSTSTSTSTSTSTSs. In this way, tracing back the spell of celestial lord incense burning, the sword spear heavenly lord finally reaches the original memory of Seo Unyun's first life. Clang. Single quote ... Huh, and in the next moment, the sword spear heavenly lord beholds the image of the black snake biting its tail. Hiss, hiss hiss hiss. Somewhere, she thinks she hears the hissing of snakes, and in the next moment, the sword spear heavenly lord loses consciousness. Hiss, Hiss hiss. External intervention detected. Authority check. Authority. Seventh body of the Radiance 10 Heavens, Sword Spear. Young. Limited authority granted. Viewing approved. Hiss 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 hiss. Kuriririk. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord opens her eyes. Just now, it felt like she had fallen into a space filled with snakes. What was that? Is it related to the Ender Authority? I feel like I saw a very familiar symbol just now. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I've connected to Seo Unyun's memory. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord looks around. Darkness surrounds her in all directions. It seems to be a memory from Seo Unyun's time as a fetus. First, since dangerous things might be hiding inside an Ender's memory, let's set up an escape route. Wing. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord tries to create an exit so she can escape from Seo Unyun's memory at any time. That's when it happens. Hiss hiss. Authority invalid. Single quote question mark single quote. A strange snake sound echoes, and the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord's authority is repelled. What is this? What's going on? Quickly reading the surrounding wisdom, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord grasps the situation. I see. Seo Unyun's memories. I don't know exactly what happened, but it seems escape in the middle is impossible. It's a structure that only allows exit once the entire memory is viewed. I didn't expect this. Is this part of the Ender Authority? She shows a slightly troubled expression, but the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord does not mind too much. In any case, he is a child barely over 10,000 years old. Moreover, the speed of reading memories isn't that slow. It's only 10,000 years worth. 100 years is more than enough to leave. After all, it's only a matter of reviewing the time Seo Unyun has lived through. It shouldn't take that long. Thinking this, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord begins to survey Seo Unyun's entire life. So this is Seo Unyun's birth, huh? And she discovers another world, entirely different from Mount Sumeru. Chapter 669, Witness of Eternity 4. Seo Unyun is born. Under the care of his parents, he receives his name, grows up, and gradually establishes his identity. However, Seo Unyun doesn't enter the eyes of the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord right now. This world is. It is far too strange. Though the world unfolds centered on Seo Unyun's memories and is therefore not entirely accurate, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord gathers numerous clues and information from within Seo Unyun's memories and is able to reach one conclusion. In this world, there are no true immortals. Of course, there are a few strange traces of transcendent beings. That is, traces of them can be found in religions, but aside from that, there are currently no true immortals, no transcendence at all. Not even cultivators or martial artists who actively use chi can be seen. Even observing the stars yields the same results. At least the sun, much like Mount Sumeru, gives off a similar feeling to that of an innate true immortal, but even there, the presence of wisdom is faint. Can a world like this even exist? Enders, they don't just suddenly appear in the head realm, but rather, they come from a different world through the head realm as a middle passage. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord falls into confusion. The Radiance 8 Immortals do not believe there is another world outside Mount Sumeru. Mount Sumeru itself is already vast and endless. The Supreme Deities and Heavenly Venerables claim there's another world and spout nonsense about wanting to go there, as if they're afflicted with madness. But that's only because those Supreme Deities have raised their rank and weight class far beyond necessity and thus feel Mount Sumeru to be narrow. If they only raised their rank and weight class in accordance to their place, Mount Sumeru would have been more than spacious enough to live in. That is why the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, as one of the Radiance 8 Immortals, has always despised those Supreme Deities who spout such nonsense. As one of the Radiance 8 Immortals, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord has always blocked those mad Supreme Deities who attempt to challenge the gatekeeper of the illusionary space called the Audience Chamber. That is, the Emptiness Supreme Deity. Behind the Akashic records that is the Emptiness Supreme Deity Myung-Woon, there surely lies the Absolute of Fate, and thanks to that Absolute of Fate, Mount Sumeru exists. Without those absolutes, Mount Sumeru would be torn apart like planets in a star system losing their central star and flung across the universe, scattered throughout the outer sea. Therefore, the Radiance 8 Immortals have always strived to prevent the mad Supreme Deities from destroying or seizing the origin essence of history and the origin essence of fate that lies behind it. The idea that there is another world beyond the Emptiness Supreme Deity Myung-Woon is nonsense, and the Radiance 8 Immortals, over generations, have infiltrated the head realm with immortal arts, prophecies, and winged garments to prove it. The emergence of Enders is simply the overlapping of special information located within the Akashic records, and the reason they possess unique cultural styles is because they are information bodies born from hidden histories within the Akashic records. That has been, until now, the common sense, history, and truth known to the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord. Then what in the world does this mean? The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord feels her entire belief in the world crumbling. Beyond Mount Sumeru, beyond the emptiness Supreme Deity, there exists another world. Moreover, this world seems to operate under laws completely different from Mount Sumeru. In other words, there are no true immortals in this world, and in the era where Seo Unyun lives, no transcendents appear. Isn't this practically the utopia of Radiance Hall? A world where everyone lives free from the oppression of fate and the tyranny of transcendence, and can enjoy life. Though there are dictators, tyrants, wicked rulers, and even a soap company CEO committing crimes here and there, compared to the tyranny and abuse of true transcendence that the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord has witnessed, such things seem more than bearable. Beautiful. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, alongside Seo Unyun, visits the kindergarten, school, military, and society, and marvels at the beauty of this world. However, amidst all this, that day finally arrives. Vroom vroom. Seo Unyun grips the steering wheel of a magic artifact called a car. And then, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord screams. Ah, no, but this place is merely a world inside Seo Unyun's memory. There is nothing the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord can do. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord must watch as Seo Unyun and the others are helplessly swept away by a landslide and killed. No, Seo Unyun. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord sinks into grief. Such a beautiful world, such a radiant world, and yet, he passes away at a young age without even fully enjoying it within the span of his life. To the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, that is far too tragic. And then, the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord witnesses someone approaching the Enders who are dying in the landslide, disregarding all physical laws. Immediately afterward, the light in the Sword Spear Heavenly Lord's eyes, her vision, her entire face, and head burst into flames. The Sword Spear Heavenly Lord, faced with a rank so overwhelming no Heavenly Lord could dare withstand, loses consciousness and faints for a moment. Thinking, for some reason, that she might have seen a familiar symbol. TST. I feel dizzy. I gather my dazed mind and look around. Whispers of endless stories murmur in my ears. But at the same time, my reason solidifies, and I recognize that the connection has now been fully completed. It's done. I've connected to Mount Sumeru. But I immediately realize that the flow of time between Mount Sumeru and the outer sea is different. Because the flow of time is different, it's difficult to synchronize the flow of consciousness. This is quite difficult. I look at my information body, which has taken the form of my childhood self, and scan the surroundings. But, who was that just now? Though I was in a haze, I clearly remember someone hugging the information body from behind. It was warm. Was it Kong Min-hee? Or, the Imperial Venerable? But why can't I see anyone? Through stories, I generated Twilight True Energy, and from that, I created an information body. But the created information body is currently at a mortal level and cannot escape the inner sea on its own. Someone has to come. Just then, Suaa, a pale mist seems to spread out in front of me, and someone appears. Exclamation mark. You're, that massive frame and bulging muscles. This person is someone deeply familiar to me. It is Oh Yun Sok. Yun Sok Hung Nim. Seo Unyun. It's been a while. I heard you went out to the outer sea. Is that a clone? Yes, well, you could say that. Ha ha ha, you look all weak and scrawny. You definitely need to be fed and raised properly. Oh Yun Sok lifts me up with one hand and places me on his shoulder as he speaks. Jaeon Myung-hoon, Kong Min-hee, and the others are currently digesting the rapid increase in rank and strength, so I came. I digested my rank quickly thanks to my master's help. I see. Then, was the presence I felt earlier the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld. The Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld must have briefly protected me until Oh Yun Sok arrived. About Young-hoon Hung Nim. I've heard some things, but I was told you know best, so I came to ask. Just what exactly happened? I roughly explain his situation. I see. He used the Ender authority to jump to some point in the future, got it. That aside, I heard Kim Yi and an Oh Seo are currently with you. I understand Kim Yeon, but why did Haiseo go with you? That's because Oh Haiseo is the medium of the great mountain supreme deity, and effectively their immortal treasure. I also explain the situation regarding Oh Haiseo to Oh Yun Sok, and he nods as he carries me on his shoulder and charges out of the inner sea into a nearby heavenly domain. Quote. I see. So that's what happened with Haiseo. Quote. Quote. Tune. After flying for a while, we enter the Earth boundary heavenly domain. Kugugugu. And there, we come before something like a massive egg. That is, 2 enormous eggs float in the void of the Earth boundary heavenly domain, and countless star veins are tangled like circuits connecting to those eggs. That's Jaeon Myung-hoon and Kong Min-hee. I heard the Liberation Supreme Deity made those for their transformation. Apparently the Heavenly Venerable of the Underworld personally requested it, but I don't really know their exact purpose. I see. By the time they emerge, they'll have probably fully digested their Ender authority and their suddenly increased rank. Suddenly increased rank. It seems to refer to how their rank soared rapidly due to the Tangwa I brought from the last cycle. I heard each of them needs to be in there for about 100 years to awaken, so let's sit and have a talk. Oh Yun Sok takes me inside a nearby planet. A corner of a planet inhabited by the human race. Oh Yun Sok sets me down on the roof of a massive skyscraper, and, as if he swiped it from somewhere, pours himself a cup of clear wine and drinks. I'll take a cup too. Nope, you're in a kid's body. What? How is that supposed to work? Do you know how old I am? Still no. After drinking clear wine for a while, Oh Yun Sok speaks with a bitter expression. Quote. The Foundation, Hall of Love. The orphanage under it, cozy home. Oh Haiseo is from there. It was run by my eldest brother. Quote. I've heard about it. Did I mention it before? Anyway, when I was young, since the orphanage was managed by our family, I went there to volunteer a few times. Though honestly, it felt more like just visiting my big brother's place rather than volunteering. Anyway, that's where I first met Oh Haiseo. From Oh Yun Sok's mouth, stories about Oh Haiseo's past begin to flow. I'm not a pedophile or anything. But anyway, when I was 17 and she was 10, I was kind of shocked. As you probably know, because she was incredibly pretty. So at first, I took care of her the most. But I don't know if you know this. It turned out she had a mental illness. A mental illness. I don't know the exact diagnosis, but anything she's interested in, she has to figure out everything about it. For example, after she took an interest in me, she searched the orphanage internet and looked up my past, my records, my dental records, and even the condition of my teeth. She figured out everything. Quote. I'm a little surprised by this unexpected answer. I knew she wasn't entirely sane, but to think she had such an obsession. When I asked her why, you know what she said. I'm the type who likes to investigate what I want to have. Quote. I guess she didn't realize that saying stuff like that could get her sent to a psychiatrist. Well, at first, I was going to tell my eldest brother to send her to a mental hospital. But then she said this, but, Yun Sok Oppa, I'm going to stop researching you now. Because you like me. Because I don't want to possess you, but want to live together with you. That's what she said, so I just told her not to do that again, quietly mentioned it to my brother, and buried it as a secret. His gaze darkened slightly. She gave me some chills, but she was a pure and good kid. Oh Haiseo, that girl. But around that time, I got pushed by the elders in my family to study abroad in Germany. Quote. Hung Nim, you studied in Germany. Why do you ask? It's just hard to picture you speaking German. Quote. You're not perhaps seeing me as some kind of simple-minded musclehead or anything, right? Quote. Of course not. Quote. Oh Yun Sok eyes me suspiciously for a moment, but soon continues explaining. Anyway, after finishing university in Germany, I came back to Korea, got my master's in grad school, and stopped by the orphanage, only to find out she had already moved out and was living independently. But from what my eldest brother said, she got scolded harshly after digging into my background again. After that, she apparently stopped talking much, seemed to study hard alone, and I heard she entered the chemistry department on a full scholarship. Then not long after, as you know, she joined our company and came looking for me. She smiled brightly and said she joined to repay the kindness she received at Cozy Home, but I could tell. Her expression might have brightened, but the purity that used to be in her eyes completely disappeared. Quote. From that point on, you know how it was. She worked decently enough in the company, got subtly involved in office politics, and blended in with the crowd decently enough. But I kept feeling uneasy around Hiseo. Like, one day she was going to cause some kind of incident. But before I could dig deeper into Hiseo, we ended up coming over to this world. Oh Yun-sok looks up at the sky. And, at first, when we were betrayed by Oh Hiseo, I felt betrayed, but also somewhat relieved. Because the unease I always felt while watching her in the company disappeared when I saw her with that Seo Wei-ol guy. The purity and happiness that had vanished from Oh Hiseo's eyes seemed to be completely full again when she was with that Seo Wei-ol guy. Quote. Is that so? I smile bitterly at those words. If Oh Hiseo was happy with Seo Wei-ol, then I am the one who shattered her happiness. It's not your fault. That guy Seo Wei-ol, even I thought he was dangerous. Even if she was happy with him, eventually he would have dragged Hiseo into danger for his own goals. You did well to take him down. I think so too. Seo Wei-ol needed to die, for all of our safety. That's right, but what I'm trying to say is, after Seo Wei-ol died, Oh Hiseo returned to the same state of unease as before. No, she probably became even more unstable. I saw the moment of her sealing through Kong Min-hee's history reading. Her eyes back then, they were incredibly dangerous. Quote. You have something you want to say. I sense Oh Yun-sok's intention and ask. Oh Yun-sok nods and speaks. Quote. Could you let me talk with Oh Hiseo? I want to speak openly with her. Have an honest, real conversation. I want to help her correct what's gone wrong. Correct? I don't know what to say. Oh Hiseo doesn't have something like a heart. No, to be precise, it's faint. Oh Hiseo was born as a dull and emotionless creature, like a snake. So the idea of correcting her simply doesn't exist. How can you correct something that was never there to begin with? Wouldn't it just be better to just seal her for eternity? But I recall Kim Yeon, who was with me in the outer sea, and erase that thought. Single quote. Maybe this too is arrogance. I erase the arrogance that Kim Yeon helped me realize. A person's heart isn't something I can dare judge. It is not something I can control. If it's Oh Yun-sok, maybe he can persuade Oh Hiseo. After all, he even remembers her childhood which I don't know about. Maybe such a thing is possible. Besides, there's plenty of time. The time until we return from the outer sea is uncertain. If Oh Hiseo can be persuaded during that time, it might be the best possible path. Quote. In that case, Hung Nim. I'll let you meet her. Woo Wang. After syncing with my main body, I ask Kim Yeon for help. With Kim Yeon's assistance, I extract only Oh Hiseo's consciousness sealed within me and connect it to the information body. TSTSTSTSTSTSTs. In an instant, the appearance of the information body changes. Just as how the information body manifested the appearance of my childhood because it is weak. When it tries to manifest Oh Hiseo's form, the lack of power results in the appearance of a young girl version of Oh Hiseo. Quote. It's how you look the first time we met, Hiseo. Oh Yun-sok looks at the information body with a nostalgic expression, and soon, having come to her senses, she glances around and smiles faintly as if she's grasped the situation. Quote. Who's this now? And then, at her next words, Oh Yun-sok, me, and even Kim Yeon, who is drawing information from me, can't help but be shocked. Oh Hiseo looks at Oh Yun-sok and gives a weak, mocking smile. My foolish first love. Long time no see, youngest father Yun-sok. Translator notes. Youngest father meaning youngest uncle. Chapter 670. Witness of Eternity 5. First love. Am I hearing this wrong? What kind of person tries so hard to throw their so-called first love into a world that's practically hell? I recall how Oh Hiseo once tried to throw us into the Blood Yin realm along with Oh Yun-sok, and I let out a hollow laugh in the outer sea. Quote. First love, you say? Then, as Oh Yun-sok's expression completely hardens, Oh Hiseo laughs as if wondering why he's so serious. Loosen your expression, it doesn't matter anymore anyway. Even when I stupidly said I wanted to keep living together, you didn't even pretend to listen. A youngest father who didn't even acknowledge someone like me and just went abroad to study. I really don't care anymore. Quote. I'm sorry, but back then, oh, I know, uncle. A mere orphan from the orphanage your eldest brother ran wouldn't have meant anything to you, right? Even if I said I wanted to live together, it must have sounded like a child's nonsense. More than anything, 7 years is just a breath's worth of time now, but back when we were mortals, that age gap was pretty repulsive, right? It wasn't repulsive. Even the male staff sticking to you at the time were mostly younger than you. Take Seo Eun-yun, for example. There's a 6-year age gap. 6 years you say? In actual age, it's more like 4 or 5. Oh Hi Seo grumbles a little, then gives a faint smile. More importantly, we don't really know Seo Eun-yun's real age, do we? Did you know, youngest father Yun-sok? Seo Eun-yun isn't from the human race. Yi and Ah, you're listening too, right? You're the one transmitting us from the outer sea after all. Listen closely. Seo Eun-yun isn't human. He's a reptilian who's been wearing a human mask since Earth. Quote. At those words, Oh Yun-sok looks at Oh Hi Seo with pity. Kim Yeon stifles a laugh at the sudden absurd mention of the lizard race, and I let out a sigh. If that's how we're going, then she herself is the one wearing a human mask while being non-human. Who's she to talk? Wo Wang. I create a small information body beside Oh Hi Seo and speak. Whether I'm from the lizard race or not doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm still Seo Eun-yun, and we're comrades. Whether human or not, we've all formed a connection together. That's enough. The real issue is you, Oh Hi Seo. I look into Oh Hi Seo's eyes and point out the deepest, most entrenched emotion in her heart right now. You're planning to commit suicide if you fail to revive Seo Weo, aren't you? At those words, Oh Yun-sok is shocked again and shouts. Is that true, Hi Seo? Quote. Ah, seriously, you have no sense of consideration, Seo Eun-yun. Just dragging out someone's feelings like that. Oh Hi Seo, don't dodge the question, answer properly. Quote. Don't pretend to care, Yun-sok oppa. You're too dense to understand anyway, aren't you? As the youngest in the family, so far down the line of succession, you don't know anything about the family affairs. You grew up being spoiled and loved, only seeing and hearing the good things as the cute little youngest son. You know nothing. What do you mean I don't know anything? Quote. Kook, kookik. Ah, this is hilarious. What should I do? This is just too funny. I haven't had this much fun in a long time. To think you'd take such a deep interest in me. Oh Hi Seo giggles and buries her face in both hands. For someone to show such deep and persistent interest in me, it feels like it's been a long time since Seo Weo. I flinch, reading Oh Hi Seo's innermost thoughts. Perhaps sensing that, Oh Hi Seo looks at me. Quote. You read it. Quote. Yeah, are you going to say it? If you keep your mouth shut till the end. Quote. Cruel, you're really cruel, Seo Eun-yun. Digging up someone's secret like that and exposing it so carelessly. Are you not the same? I heard you dug up everything about Yun-sok Hung-nim when you were still in the O clan. Quote. Fine, since everything is going to be exposed because of Seo Eun-yun anyway. I'll tell you, Yun-sok Orabeoni. I'll tell you about the disgrace your O clan has been hiding. Oh Hi Seo sneers and speaks. When we were little, the orphans from Cozy Home always had their teeth counted. The physical information centered on our teeth was measured regularly, and that information always went up to Father. So what about it? Aren't you curious why they measured that kind of thing? You only need a health checkup once or twice a year. Why do you think they did it every single week? Quote. Of course you wouldn't know. I understand. You're the youngest who only ever got affection, so you were never really involved in the family's core business. From what I found out, they were planning to open up the family secrets to you only after you earned a director position on your own. But, well, you came here before that happened. Oh Hi Seo's eyes are filled with exhilaration. I read her inner heart and let out a silent sigh. She wants to break Oh Yun-sok. She wants to show him the dirtiest secrets of his family and watch him scream in despair. Then I'll tell you, Yun-sok Orabeoni. Listen closely. Your family, the O clan, is a low-ranking member of a rather large secret organization. One that's connected to illicit organizations like the mafia, triads, and gangs. And, you all know about special additive type 3 feet used in the soap that the O family makes, right? We nod. It's true our company's soaps contain not only standard ingredients but also several chemical additives developed by a department called the Special Materials Division. Those special additives are basically substances that alter people. When extremely diluted, they help with skin care and appearance, but in proper dosages, they have effects like delaying aging and extending lifespan. Of course, even that's diluted to some extent. There are rumors in the Special Development Division that if someone were to consume the pure, undiluted concentrate, an adult could turn back into a child. Obviously, with Earth's tech level, an adult actually turning into a child probably wouldn't happen. What? Take Oh Ye-rin, who's related to Yoon-sok Oribeoni, and is married to director Kim Young-hoon. Kim Young-hoon, who represents one branch of the Oh clan. Didn't you ever think it was strange how healthy he always looked? Even at his age, he was obsessed with hiking, and he started balding unusually fast, too. Quote. Director Kim Young-hoon was constantly absorbing products heavily infused with special additives, like the soap with high additive concentration, that's given only to Oh clan members. Oh Ye-rin was steadily administering it in a suitable way into his body. That's why he was way healthier than his age would suggest. The severe hair loss was just a side effect. Quote. I suddenly recall something that was definitely strange. In the head realm, Kim Young-hoon's lifespan was projected to last 50 to 60 years from the day he entered. And by that point, Kim Young-hoon was already in his 50s. Considering that complete transformation doesn't affect lifespan, only vitality and appearance, it was strange. Meaning, Kim Young-hoon's lifespan was around 110 years. In other words, even if he hadn't entered the head realm and stayed on Earth, he still would have lived healthily up to 110. Given that my own original lifespan was around 80, Kim Young-hoon's was excessively long. The level of medical care on Earth is high and people talk about living to 100 or even 200 years, but in the head realm where medical standards are low. Even with martial arts, I did think living that long was strange. So from the beginning, from the moment he joined the soap company and was registered into the Oh clan, that long lifespan was already planned. And what about you, Yoon-sok Oribeoni? Or the entire Oh clan? How many people on Earth can maintain that kind of physique and muscle mass at your age, and keep such monstrous stamina? Kukik. And the workouts you all do are just a bit more intense than the average office workers. So why are you all so healthy and full of energy? Quote. All of it. It's because you were all unknowingly ingesting appropriate amounts of the special additive type 3, the compound that the Oh clan was co-developing after receiving it from the secret organization. Oh Yoon-sok's eyes begin to tremble. What in the world? Father, our family has been hiding something like that. Just hiding it, Kukik. They've been actively developing it. And, what do you think it means for a family linked to illegal organizations like the Oh clan to be involved in development? Have you ever thought about it? Oh Yoon-sok's eyes tremble intensely, as if realizing something in her tone, and I too let out a silent sigh. The cozy home under the foundation of the Hall of Love. Every product, food, and item those children used contained substances related to special additive type 3. It's no different from feeding children soap in their food. How could they commit something so outrageous? How could they do that to children? I groan inwardly at the truth, and Oh Yoon-sok can only gape with his mouth wide open. Cozy Home is just a giant clinical testing facility. Of course, they only use drugs with weaker side effects to prevent mass casualties, but honestly, no one really knows what the results would be. And of course, a very small number of children are given stronger drugs for experimentation, too. Quote. You're saying you were a test subject for one of those strong side effect drugs. Not quite. I was born like this. The side effects I had were just things like getting blisters on my skin or catching scurvy often. Of course, because of you, I almost ended up taking one of the drugs with severe side effects. What? I just wanted to open up to Yoon-sok Oribeoni. Because you were the only one in the Oh clan who knew nothing about its darker side. And, no matter what happened, I thought Yoon-sok Oribeoni was the only person who'd take my side. That's why I stopped investigating you and tried to tell you everything, but you told that to Father. Oh Yoon-sok's face contorts. That day, you told Father, without much thought, didn't you? Thinking a 10-year-old orphan digging into the personal information of the orphanage director's sibling was a sign of mental illness. You thought the orphanage director would kindly give me psychological treatment, right? Our innocent and cruel Yoon-sok Oribeoni. Oh Hye-seo's face also distorts. After that, I got dragged into Father's heart room, and was punished. Punished? What kind of punishment? Quote. Let's just say I got beaten. Beaten until I could barely stay conscious. Well, that part wasn't a problem. But, after that, I got classified as a special monitoring subject and they started discussing using me as a target for strong side effect drug testing. Of course, after getting beaten in the Heart room, I start pretending to be a little slow to weaken the surveillance. I always switched my food with the others behind their backs, so I didn't suffer any side effects. Quote. The kid I regularly swapped meals with got sick and was eventually sent to the hospital. I don't know what happened after that. Probably died. Kukik. Oh Hiseo grins as she speaks. I liked you. Well, I only realized recently that it was love. Back then, I just thought it was a special interest, but anyway, I liked you. Because you were the one who always helped and protected me at the orphanage. But, my first love, with such indifference, with just one careless, responsibility-free comment, almost got me killed. Her laughter grows gradually louder. Her face seems to brighten, but her heart begins to fill with darkness. In that darkness, there may be a hint of exaggeration to break Oh Yun-sok down, but there are no lies. After that, I decided to join the company run by the Oh clan. I wanted to know what kind of family this was. What's behind this family? What's hidden in the world's shadows? I was curious. Illuminati, Freemasons, or maybe reptilians. I thought there had to be something strange like that. So, I dug to know everything around me. Thanks to that, I know everything from your dental records to the condition of your teeth, Seo Eun-yun. The physical state of everyone in our company, aside from a few exceptions, I know it all. Quote. But I didn't expect a reptilian to perfectly disguise as a human and hide so discreetly. That was my mistake. I thought the idea that reptilians secretly rule humanity had less than a 0.1% chance of being real, but I underestimated you all. I feel taken aback that my company is such a place. But Oh Yun-sok looks like he's about to explode. My original plan, you see, was to use the talent I was born with, to take control of the company, crush the Oh family under my feet, and then kill myself. That was my plan on Earth. But after coming to this world, I start thinking there are just too many hidden truths. Of course, seeing true immortals changed my mind a bit, and Seo Wei-ol comforted me. So, I decided to be with Seo Wei-ol. I barely even think about Yun-sok or Abeoni anymore. Right now, Seo Wei-ol's body has vanished for a while, but his spirit still remains with me. I'll prepare for years, even hundreds of millions of years, and I'll definitely resurrect Seo Wei-ol. She looks straight at Oh Yun-sok and me as she speaks. You can't stop me now. For Seo Wei-ol has shown me what true love is. Neither the dull Yun-sok or Abeoni, nor the reptilian Seo Eun-yun, none of you can stop me. Because I've inherited the way to wield love from Seo Wei-ol. Kong, Oh Hiseo's spirit draws forth her ender authority to the max to escape from the seal. Truth manipulation activates, and the very truth that she is caught begins to replicate endlessly. For a brief moment, it feels as though countless parallel dimensions form. Within the afterimages of those numerous parallel dimensions, countless versions of Oh Hiseo simultaneously reach their hands toward Oh Yun-sok. At the same time, the immortal art Tainted Soul Filling the Heavens activates. Tainted Soul Filling the Heavens, now united with her authority, seems to take root in our minds. But immediately after, Kwaduk, as I exert my strength, all the authority she tries to wield gets sucked into my hand and is annihilated. That is because the power I have accumulated is greater than both her ender authority and the petty tainted soul filling the heavens. I forbid Bushu it. Do not dare to think of escape. Even after witnessing me compress a universe, destroy it, and recreate it, the fact she still does not lose hope is, at the very least, commendable. But your method is wrong. If it's you, you could easily slip past the restrictions of the Great Mountain Supreme Deity, and it doesn't even seem like the Great Mountain Supreme Deity is that intent on holding on to you. So why do you continue to live foolishly under their rule and use such wicked means? Quote. They said if I fulfilled their orders, they would bring Seo Wei-ol back to life. That's all. It is then. Oh Yun-sok opens his mouth with a darkened expression. Stop lying, Hiseo. What? From long ago, your lies were always obvious. Maybe you thought you fooled everyone else, but not me. I've always seen through your lies. You are lying right now. Ha, that's funny, uncle, youngest father, Yun-sok or Abeoni. You never cared about me in the first place, so how could you possibly see through my lies? Because even though I didn't care about you in a romantic way, I truly considered you family. You were no different from my younger sister. Quote. So, just be honest. Oh Hiseo, do you really believe that guy Seo Wei-ol can be brought back to life? Oh Yun-sok's eyes are filled with a will I've never seen before. No, It's not the first time I've seen that look. Back in the Azure Heaven creation sect. It's the look he gave when he awakened me. Was what you felt for me truly love? And the feeling you have for that Seo Whale guy, is that really love? At Oh Yun Sok's fierce shout, the blood drains from Oh Hai Seo's face. Watching it, I understand instantly. I understand what kind of state she is in right now. Look into my eyes and answer clearly. Oh Hai Seo, do you truly believe Seo Whale can be revived? I don't get why you're doing this. But she smiles crookedly and stares at Oh Yun Sok. I love Seo Whale. You were my first love, and I definitely loved you back then. Where's the lie in that? Cooing, Oh Yun Sok rises and takes a step toward Oh Hai Seo. Above a star within a star system. On the rooftop of a skyscraper in a human race territory, Oh Hai Seo steps backward. Why are you doing this? Even if I did lie, it has nothing to do with all of you. Now, Seo Whale isn't even a threat to any of you anymore. Seo Un-yun, you, could crush Seo Whale along with the entire universe if he becomes a threat, so why are you acting like this? Even if Seo Whale comes back, what does it matter to you now that you've reached the true immortal realm? Cooing, Oh Yun Sok takes another step toward her with a hardened expression. And the smile that fills her face begins to disappear. Don't come. Why? You didn't care before, you tried to throw me into a mental hospital without a second thought, so why are you trying to come to me now? Why now? I don't have any feelings for you anymore. That's the truth. I just need Seo Whale. Cooing, Oh Hai Seo finally reaches the edge of the skyscraper, and Oh Yun Sok stands right before her. Quack, Oh Yun Sok grabs her shoulder and looks down at her. Back on Earth, I lost a daughter to miscarriage. And even the daughter I got after coming to Mount Sumeru. I left her behind on Penglai Island. There have been far too many children. I failed to protect with these hands. Now, I want to protect. I might not be able to protect and lead everyone like Seo Un-yun, but at least my family. At least you, who is my family. I don't want to lose you. Don't make me laugh. Why are you doing this to me? I told you I don't care about you. I learned love from Seo Whale. I received my heart from him. And I even learned how to control and observe my heart from him. I know myself better than anyone else. I told you not to lie. Oh Yun Sok's grip on Oh Hai Seo's shoulder begins to tighten. Is there really nothing you want to let out to me? Just moments ago, you exposed all the disgrace of the Oh clan like that, and yet you've got nothing to say to me. Are the feelings you hold for that Seo Whale guy really nothing but love? Shut you. Quorararik. Oh Hai Seo's information body becomes stained with darkness. She avoids facing Oh Yun Sok, hides deep into the seal I created, and further seals herself within tainted soul filling the heavens. Oh Yun Sok and I stand in place, unable to do anything but watch the process. Even with my power, I can't get Oh Hai Seo out. Through tainted soul filling the heavens, she locked her own soul away. She completely closed the door to her heart, making it so that no being can interfere with her. Do you still want to keep talking to Oh Hai Seo? Even after hearing something that's shocking? I will keep talking to her. But Oh Yun Sok speaks with a hardened face. If I can, I want to talk to her again and again, over and over, until she finally spits out her true feelings. You mean you want her to reveal her true heart? Yes, to Hai Seo, who doesn't even know if what's in her heart is really love or something else, and yet is walking into ruin with her own 2 feet. I want her to look back at her real heart. Hung Nim, are you alright? I'm not alright. But, Oh Yun Sok looks off somewhere with a stiff face. I've already lost my family twice. I don't want to lose my family again. Rather than knowing the truth about family, losing my family is what truly terrifies me more. You said she locked her soul away with tainted soul filling the heavens. If we can just undo that, then I'll be able to talk to her again, right? That is correct, but, if she used tainted soul filling the heavens like this for self-protection, undoing it may be incredibly difficult. What should I do? Oh Yun Sok ponders for a long while, and I watch him with a bitter smile. Let's try together with Kim Yeon, even if it takes hundreds of millions of years. TSTSTSTSTSTSTSTSs. With those words, I return my consciousness to the outer sea. Wo Wang, In my hand is the jade of yin-yang and 5 elements that imprisons Oh Seo's main body, and Kim Yeon looks at me with a worried expression. It seems she's worried about Oh Yun-sok. Quote. It's alright, Yeon ah. Hung Nim Yun-sok won't break easily. It's something only I, who once had my head burst apart by his roar, can say with certainty. Even if it's Oh Seo, someday she'll open her heart to Oh Yun-sok. However, Kim Yeon shakes her head at my words. Quote. No way. I look toward where her concerned gaze falls. She is worried about Oh Seo. Quote. You're worrying about her? Why? Oh Seo is just someone who tried to toy with us. If not for Yun-sok Hung Nim, I honestly would have gone and killed her long ago. So why are you bothering to worry about her? At that, Kim Yeon seems to hesitate for a moment. Then after a moment, Kim Yeon uses immortal art to partially lift Bong Myong's restriction, takes my hand, and begins writing letters on my palm. As I read the letters, my eyes gradually widen. What? Inside Oh Seo's body, a new life is growing. I look at Kim Yeon with a dazed expression as if I've just been hit, and she gives a bitter smile as she writes a few more characters on my palm. Through my authority, I sensed it. Deep within her body, a new life is sprouting. And what is certain is, it is the result of sharing hearts with that being called Seo Weol. So, even if it's not for Oh Seo herself, at least for that life, please worry for her. Quote. I frown, trying to sense this new life that couldn't be known in the future and isn't even caught by Indra's net. Kim Yeon isn't even lying. That means she really discovered something through her authority. Wait, suddenly, I recall the slight changes in Oh Seo's attitude I'd seen in the future. That subtle detachment in her demeanor, the way she gave up on saving Seo Weol and chose to end her own life, those weren't just due to the passing of time. Maybe, if that's true, then this isn't just about Oh Seo alone. Quote. Alright, Yeon ah, I believe you. In that case, be a little more delicate. Don't try to forcefully break open the door to her heart. Try approaching a bit more gently. Quote. Gently, but I can't help but feel a little flustered. Just how am I supposed to gently unravel Oh Seo's tainted soul filling the heavens? It's when I'm pondering this. You're not delicate at all. If you can't even approach a female gently, can you really call yourself a male? Quote. Quote. Exclamation mark. Quote. Kim Yeon and I flinch in surprise and widen our eyes, and can't help but be shocked at the figure that suddenly appears in the outer sea. GG Glass Peacock. How? That's right. The one who suddenly popped out of the void before our eyes is none other than Glass Peacock. It's nothing special. This girl was harboring a strong reproductive urge toward you, so I mixed a strand of Glass Avidya advancement light into a split soul and rode that desire to send a split soul along. Glass Peacock transforms into the appearance of a human race woman, wearing a smug expression. Of course, it was a risky gamble. I don't even know anything about the spell of Celestial Lord Incense burning, and this split soul is at most at the level of a spirit leftover. If it can't absorb lust from the surroundings, it can't take form, and even if it does absorb enough to take shape, it still wouldn't be able to act unless it connects at least once with the main body in Mount Sumeru. In other words, you could say I was lucky. Though, getting that luck to happen is all my skill. Quote. I stare at Glass Peacock's clone for a moment, then reach out my hand. Since it's only a clone, I might as well crush it. Wait, hold on, I have a proposal. Quote. If it's something like mating with you. No, it's not that. Although, if you did, I would certainly be happy, but right now, I want something even more enticing. The clone of Glass Peacock licks their lips and points at the jade of yin-yang and 5 elements in my hand. I want the Great Mountain Holy Mother. I truly want to heal her. You all want to undo the immortal art she's wrapped herself in too, right? I'll help you. After all, I'm the one who gave birth to the owner of liberation as my descendant. Moreover, the immortal Tao I walk is the Tao of addiction. More precisely, the Tao of wandering. With me, I can directly negate that immortal art called tainted soul filling the heavens and unravel the mental labyrinth of the Great Mountain Holy Mother Oh Seo without hurting her. At Glass Peacock's words, Kim Yeon and I glance at each other. Somehow, it sounds plausible, and you say she's bearing new life. Ha, even better. I will bless it to ensure that life is properly born. So how about it? Join hands with me. Let me save the Great Mountain Holy Mother Oh Seo. Glass Peacock licks their lips and, with a half-mad expression, extends their hand to me and Kim Yeon. And so, we take Glass Peacock's hand and begin the long process of dismantling the tainted soul filling the heavens that Oh Hai Seo used to seal away her own mind.